we're going to be talking about how Bybit and Oracle Red Bull Racing is innovating fan culture. Before we jump into introducing our guests, we're going to remind you that we have an amazing giveaway. But all you have to do is drop in your comments in the comment section, and you have a chance to win $300 or even a one NFT from the Velocity series. And we have another giveaway. If we hit 10K viewers, you can even unlock a chance to win $200 and one Velocity series pass. Thank you very much, and let's get into it. I'm going to first introduce some of our guests, which they are an amazing panel that you'll be excited to meet. First of all, we have Max Zhu from Bybit, who's our Bybit Web3 evangelist. Our two amazing partners from Oracle Red Bull Racing, Caroline Buckland and Daniel. And then we have the amazing artist, Martin Grasser, who was in, who actually gave us the Velocity series, which is an amazing project, and AOI, who was also partnering with Martin Grasser for this project. Thank you very much for being here, and can't wait to hear what you guys have in store for us.
Great to be here.
Thanks.
Right? Okay. So to Max, why and how does Bybit intend for Web3 to take fan engagement to the next level? And give us some examples.
Yep. So I think from Bybit's standpoint, we always want to do things that are kind of first in the industry, and I think that resonates very well with Red Bull Racing's like breaking boundary kind of spirit. So Velocity series actually came from last year, and this year is the second time or the second season we're doing it. And when we started doing this Velocity series campaign since last year. We are actually, one of the Red Bull Racing is one of the first sports brands in this world to have successfully launched a generative art NFT collection, and that also makes us Bybit the first kind of centralized exchanges to do similar stuff. And also, I also want to note that Bybit is actually one of the first or the first centralized exchange that launched NFTs in a completely centralized manner. So this is one of the first in the industry, and we hope to like keep breaking boundaries. So from the successful launch of the Velocity series last year, we were thinking about, oh, how can we keep breaking boundaries? How we can do more things that's innovative this year. So this year, what we decided to do, which is one step forward for what we did last year, is we decided to incorporate this idea of the fractionalized NFT. So with this new technology, now users or art collectors, they have the opportunity or chance to own or possess a fraction of the artwork, which is never before seen in the art of the in the traditional artwork. So I think this is something that NFT can offer and is very different from the traditional art. So this year we decided to do this fractionalized NFT idea, and then I think it's really interesting how recently, I think last week, one of the most prominent NFT projects in the industry is called DGod. They just announced that they are pivoting to a fractionalized NFT standard. But when we have been doing this since the beginning of the year, so it really shows the art collectors, we're really serious about art. We're really serious about technology advancement, and we're really serious about breaking boundaries. And I think one last thing I want to mention is I think that the art community give us a lot of support in the creation of this Velocity series. There is kind of a dedicated group chat, Discord channel that art collectors come in and talk about Velocity series and give us opinions or advices on how to make this a successful series. So whatever we do, we listen to the art community, and then I think this is what makes us so successful right now.
That's amazing. Thank you for that detailed introduction about it. Great. We can move on to Caroline Buckman, I guess. Today you were at Token 24/9 with our very own Ben Zhou
I
on
was.
panel.
Yeah, it's
It was
amazing over
exciting. It was
there.
amazing.
It's amazing. It's such
Yeah.
a great conference. Definitely go and check it out if you get the chance.
Yeah, of course, of course. Can you give us an introduction of how motorsports and fan engagement has traditionally been? And I'll
Sure.
follow up with some questions later as well.
Sure, yeah, no problem. So I head up fan engagement at Oracle Rebel Racing, and we kind of cover all sorts of different channels and means in which to communicate with our fans. I think when you talk about kind of traditional fan engagement, it's probably, and maybe sort of 5, 10 years ago, people would assume that your motorsport fan might be older, richer, male. That's actually very much not the case, and has changed a lot over the years. There certainly is, you know, some of that following, but there's a lot more as well. And what I would say about kind of motorsport fandom, it's very different to certain other sports. So my background, I worked for about 6 or 7 years in Premier League football. I was at Manchester City and then at Chelsea for about 3.5 years each. And football fandom is very tribal. You will follow one team, your family probably followed that team, you will never follow another team. Formula One motorsport fandom is not the same as that. You'll have a lot of people that might follow a driver or potentially follow a team. And it can be quite fluid. So often, if we're going to a fan event or going to track, you'll see people who are wearing a McLaren hat, a Ferrari bag, and an Oracle Rebel Racing top. And that's quite normal. And actually, we celebrate that in the world of F1. It's our job as a team to convert those into Oracle Rebel Racing fans. But it's certainly a slightly different landscape for fandom in motorsport.
I'm guilty of doing that, by the way. What is the impetus for the change in fan engagement practices in the recent years?
Well, yeah, there certainly has been a change. I think a lot of it is down to the kind of global nature of big programs like Drive to Survive on Netflix. That was certainly a catalyst. Not only did that get a lot of people talking about the world of F1, but it also allowed us as teams to sort of break into markets that maybe we hadn't had the chance to authentically go into before. So the US is a huge example of that. It's a market that was broken open in the last few years, and I think every team is trying to win out there, both on and off the track. There's other markets as well that kind of have got behind the program that's allowed people to get into motorsport. But I would say there's a huge trend, particularly on social media and on TikTok, for female fandom as well, getting involved in motorsport. And that's great to see. And we, alongside multiple other teams, are trying to capitalise on that and ensure that those new fans who are kind of early adopters to the sport that aren't necessarily your kind of petrol heads and real hardcore motorsport fans find ways in which they can build an emotional connection with us as a team, and for us to be at the forefront of their minds. So that kind of that Netflix effect certainly made a difference, and now it's on kind of the teams to ensure we capitalise on new fandom.
And is that how you kind of, Oracle Rebel Racing, how they kind of find a way, new ways to acquire like new fans and
Yeah,
kind of support their
absolutely.
fans as well?
We've done a ton actually to try and make sure we are reaching new audiences, and the work that we've done in the Web3 space is certainly one example of that. You know, we're reaching new audiences, whether that's through the Velocity series, and kind of looking at more crypto natives and fans of kind of art within the space, or we've done kind of more mass market stuff as well to reach new audiences. That's one way. But when you look at kind of where we've taken communication through fan channels over the past sort of 5 years or so, from maybe one email that would go out to a database of fans once a week to highly segmented communications, every different social media channel you can think of. And actually something we've done in the last few years, I mean, Max mentioned Discord, and we've got a number of different Discord channels. One that's actually become a bit of an advocate network for us through our loyalty program, where we again bounce ideas off that audience to say, like, we want to meet you where you are, whether that's Discord, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, email, web, whatever that channel might be. We know that we need to reach fans who might never have the chance to actually come to a race. And again, you're talking about breaking down the barriers. That's absolutely what we want to do with the sport that maybe historically were in place, just to give fans, we call it bringing F1 to the 90%, the 90% of people that won't actually ever come to a Grand Prix, but we can reach them through digital means. So that's certainly something that we're very focused on and continuing to do.
Hey, amazing. Thank you so much. I guess we can move on to Daniel. Can you give us an overview to the kind of digital NFT creations we have been working on with us, Bybit and Red Bull Racing? Um,
Sure. Yeah. So I think I kind of joined the team back in 2022, and I think we've done some incredible stuff with the Bybit team over the past kind of two and a bit years. And to Max's point, we're always trying to push the boundaries. We don't just want to be a brand that kind of comes into the Web3 space and kind of does the same as everyone else and isn't kind of pushing, because that's who we are as a team. I think our first big innovation back in 2022, we were the first F1 team to put an NFT on a race car. We raced around the track in Abu Dhabi for the last week of the season, when we worked with Azuki and Bybit, and it went phenomenally well. We got a lot of great plaudits from the Web3 community that we were trying to do something that was authentic, and sort of pushing the boundaries of what brands are doing in Web3. So, and then Velocity Series, I guess, is our kind of flagship project that we launched a year and a half ago now. And not being biased, but I think it's been one of the leading kind of brand NFT programs, especially kind of art programs, art passes that has been launched by not just the brand, but in the space. And we launched. We've done kind of multiple 5 or 6 sold out NFT drops. Worked with some of the most incredible artists in the space. Some of the really big players like Eric Snowthrow, Jack Butcher, Martin currently, Kieto Golid. So we've really had the best of the best in terms of generative artists. And yeah, we've got a great kind of working relationship with Bybit and the Bybit team. I think that's kind of part of the strength and power of what we do. It's how well we work with the Bybit team and AOI and the artists to kind of launch these really interesting art-based projects and NFT drops. We've got more to come. We've got Velocity Series Season 2, which is currently live, and Martin his drop, which launches next week. Lots more to come from both teams.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I mean, Benjo is watching us, so we have to do it. Great. So to just kind of remind everyone, please drop in your comments in the comment section, and we'll hopefully get a chance to answer them at the end. But yeah, to kind of zoom back out to Max Bybit. Outside of motorsports, what other interesting applications of Web3 and NFTs and fan engagement are we seeing?
Okay. That's a great question, because I think personally, I think Bybit and Red Bull Racing is doing the most. You know, I mean, previously I quickly touched upon the idea of fractionalized NFTs. I think this is probably one of the most exciting thing that has happened to NFT in a while, because it completely differentiates itself from the traditional artwork. Whereas, so for example, if we talk about a Mona Lisa, if you want to own a Mona Lisa, you have to own an entire piece of it, right? But what about for the art fans who are in love with the artwork, who want to try to get their hands on the artwork, but maybe they cannot they can't afford to own a whole piece, right? So I think this decentralized, fractionalized NFT idea, I think really provides the art community with the way that they can be a part of the community or own a part of the artwork, but with a reasonable budget. So I think this really allows people to participate in the movement, to join the art world, and then own a piece that they want. So I think this is what we have done extremely successful for this year. I think we managed to onboard a lot of new users, a lot of new art collectors, or even some people who are previously not art collectors, but they saw us Rebel Racing and Bybit doing this fractionalized NFT idea, and then they started to follow us, follow Velocity Series, and they ended up, are converted into a diehard Rebel Racing fan. So I think this is what we have done super successful, and I also see this as a trend moving forward. More and more NFT collections will be released in the form of a fractionalized NFT idea.
We're making pieces of puzzles more valuable than the actual puzzle.
100%.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. Let's move on to like AOI. It's exciting to have you here. So can you give us an overview to the kind of art collabs you've been curating for Bybit and Oracle Web Racing?
Yeah, definitely. It's been an incredible journey. Going back to day one, we started talking about the Velocity series. It's amazing to have two incredible brands like Bybit and Rebel Racing that are open to pushing the boundaries. Our first drop last year was with an artist called Rick Ospenbrook, and um, I think for the first artist, we did take a lot of risk. But we ended up, that was the first drop. The artwork was shown at the Mocha Museum in, in the hometown of the artist as well. So we managed to sort of, I guess, take something that's sort of digital, but also give it sort of a presence in an art institution. Um, and every artist we work with, it's working with these guys is incredible because every drop we want to do something different. It's not like, hey, every drop has to follow the same formula. It's more like, hey, you know what? This is the artist we're working with. Let's try and understand what the artist's vision is. And then it's about being like, okay, well, the artist is doing something quite digital. How do we create a really amazing fan experience? So, for example, with Eric Surfer, the artist was like, hey, I've got a genetic algorithm, but we want to turn it into an embroidery. And that's something where, not even a normal embroidery, right? The embroidery was to go on a Rebel Racing hat. So I think when you have things like that, right, where, I think a lot of normal brands would be like, you know what, no way, that's too difficult. I guess with Rebel Racing and Bybit, they were like, you know what, how do we make this happen? How do we create a project where it starts off with a genetic algorithm, it's an NFT, but then the NFT is loaded onto an NFC card. And the NFC card is attached to the hat that's physically embroidered. So that's an example of one artist where we really tried to push the boundaries of what's possible. But going back to Martin, I think Martin's probably one of the most exciting artists of our time. He designed the Twitter logo. Actually, a lot of the biggest tech brands he's had a hand in creating. But what's different about this drop is that every single one of the pieces you see here is hand painted by Martin. It takes over 15 to 20 hours per piece, some even longer. So the previous drops were all like a genetic algorithm. So it's a code, you press a button, and the code comes out with different variations. But this time, it's 60 unique one-on-one pieces. And I think, every week going forwards, right, slightly different. This one will be done by a selection pass. So what that means is that, it's a Dutch auction, people bid for it. The first person who bids first will get to choose his artwork first. So we wanted a process where different from all the other jobs, but it's very, art driven. It's all about sort of, artist ideas. And in particular this year, it's the 20th anniversary of Rebel Racing. And you might have seen, a lot of the artworks in the past were sort of representations of velocity or the philosophy of Rebel Racing, whereas this time, it's 20 pivotal moments of Rebel Racing's history encapsulated by Martin's artwork. And it's something that I think forever be a part of history because, people think, oh, it's easy to just draw an important moment of the race. But to be able to do that, to be able to capture those moments, before Martin was saying to me, the drivers would walk around with him, the driver would point at his work and be like, I know exactly where that turn is, I know exactly this component. And seeing Martin's face light up, for me, that is absolute magic. So, it's going to be an amazing sort of drop. Over the next few weeks, Martin is going to be producing around probably 5 to 7 pieces every day. And I think through the Rebel Racing Discord, the fans will be able to, be part of that journey with Martin. So as Martin draws and paints and creates new artwork, he's going to be able to share the progress and the images along the way. So I think it's a new form of relationship between sort of, artist, collector, Bybit, Rebel Racing. So yeah, it's going to be spectacular, So um, Martin's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I completely agree. Like the artwork is absolutely fantastic, and it looks like it took so much time to make and create, and it looked like it's a very special touch to it. So it's absolutely amazing to see. To all our viewers, you can actually see the artwork on our social media channels at the moment. So it's actually really good. To Martin, I mean, our special guest as well. Can you share with us the concept behind the upcoming collection, and maybe include a little bit more details that the fans would love to see or love
Yeah,
to hear?
I think let's see. I think a lot of it came from conversations with AOI and Dan on the Red Bull team. I think uh, I think the process was very pure and sort of honest. Like I think really started wanting to make sure that we were making something that delivered on the goals of the program. And I think when they were talking about making something that connected with Red Bull fans, we got them excited. I think the answer was really clear to go back to the car and go back to the races. So I think everything started for us with the car and the races. From there, I think it was identifying with the team what are the moments that we can begin to celebrate. Started watching tons and tons of F1 races, Red Bull races, Red Bull footage, and trying to capture in this idea the aggregate, like how do you sort of let a drawing or a painting absorb the sound, the speed, the velocity, the repetition of the track. I was really inspired by how graphic the sport is. I think when you see the overhead view or the camera view or the low tire view or everything, like you these flashes of repetitive logos or colors or the curve sort of cutting up fields of color. And so I think that was a starting point for us artistically. And then matching that with, what was the pivotal moment of this race from 2021 or, from 2014 or whatever that celebrates Red Bull's history. And so the series is called Intervals, with this idea that, that's, the leader creates the interval from whoever's behind him. And it also celebrates, to me, sort of the span of 20 years of Red Bull racing. So it's really about like creating a piece of work that a racing fan would be excited about. So I didn't want it to get too abstract. But then within that drawing and painting, finding ways to layer massive amounts of color, exaggerate certain elements of a track to make it somewhat identifiable. So that nice tension between abstraction and recognition, reality, and really trying to play with those ideas of precision and chaos.
That like your process into studying these different points of views to bring us this amazing art?
Yeah, I think each time we start with a race or painting, we watch the race. There's a website that summarizes all the races and the key points that we go to there as well. And then each race has its own story that you can kind of dig into. And then it's about finding, that moment and trying to aggregate that through a series of images, right? You may have to bring in, a graphic element from previous in the race and sort of like combine to make sort of, like maybe bring 6 images into one or something like that to really capture so that this is India, this is France, this is Great Britain or whatever, where it's turn 5 or turn 6 or, this pivotal moment. So trying to really, again, like I said, absorb all of that, all those dynamic moments in one static image.
Okay, fantastic to hear. What are your thoughts on the digital art scene at the moment? Like, what kind of trends are you looking forward to?
I think digital art is having such an exciting moment right now. I think I've been making artwork in this way since 2008, and I think the first 14 years I showed it to my family exclusively, and couldn't get anyone to buy it or be interested in it. And I think when NFT started to sort of rise up there, all of a sudden I found my community on Twitter and Instagram and all these different social media platforms of people all around the world who love the same things I love, got excited about the same things I was excited about. This how AOI and I connected. Talking about art, talking about what was exciting for us, and so I think seeing the impact it has on culture is incredible. And then I think in terms of like what's next, I think this idea of being able to create art that a little bit more accessible, whether it's fractional or you're speaking directly to a fan base that you can connect to globally, like Red Bull is doing, is super compelling. I think it's a really hard thing to do to get people to get interested in your art. Just like, hey, come walk down this long street and learn about my art. I think I'm really interested in ways of meeting people halfway. Like, oh, if you're a racing fan, you may love this thing. You may love this drawing. If you're a fan of a specific driver or a track, you may love this, or a certain car even. So I think that ability to interact, engage, and sort of communicate through art with larger groups of people rather than being confined to a physical gallery, super exciting to me. I mean, Ayo and I have been talking for over a year, and he's in Hong Kong, and I'm in San Francisco, and we're good pals on the internet.
That's amazing. So good to hear. Good to hear. Max, you have to tell us, how do we acquire one? We want to know.
So I think AOI has briefly touched on. So the name of the collection is going to be Intervals. It's going to be 60, a collection of 60 pieces. Each piece is handmade by the artist Martin himself. But this time, when it comes to selling these pieces or releasing these pieces, we are adopting a completely different mechanics compared to what we have done before. So we're gonna come up with something called a selection pass. So and then we're gonna use the Dutch auction mechanism to kind of distribute these selection passes. And so, say if you're the first person to participate in the Dutch auction, then you will be able to kind of be the first person to use your selection pass and select the piece from the 60 piece collection. So we want to use this as an opportunity to test out this new mechanic and see what what kind of synergy or what kind of chemistry can be created between artists and the collecting or the art collector community themselves. And then we're going to release more information. Then our official announcement is coming down the line. The release date is going to be later in this month, and then you can only get it exclusively at the Bybit NFT portal.
Fantastic to hear. I mean, it's the only way you should be getting your NFTs anyway. Great. Oh, it's been an amazing discussion. I have a few really, really funny questions for also the Oracle Red Bull Racing. You'll have a laugh out of these. Okay, I'm going to go with the funniest one that I actually saw right here. Can I exchange my V Series NFT for a round trip in an ORBR car?
No.
Good answer.
We'd love to. Yeah. No, you can't. It is the short answer.
Well, you tried. At least you asked the question. It's fine. How will NFTs and Web3 transform fan engagement and racing? I don't know if you guys could answer that, maybe.
Yeah, I'll give it. So I think from the Web3 side, we've got kind of two objectives really. One is how do we get people outside of racing who are in the Web3 space interested in racing, but interested in Red Bull Racing as a team. So we're the number one team in the world of Web3, and everyone who's a kind of crypto native, it gets more interested in motorsport. And I think longer term, we want to come up with kind of solutions and programs that kind of get fans using Web3 technology as a way to kind of engage with the team on a more deeper level. So I think we've got lots of big plans. We've obviously got a couple more artists we're going to release and launch later on this year, as well as part of the Velocity series. And then we're looking at a couple of projects for 2025. So we're definitely in it for the long haul. Web3s and Web3 technology is an incredible way to create really kind of deep and meaningful connections with people. So we're all about working with Bybit to look at how we really kind of push the boundaries and use the technology as a way to engage fans.
Yeah, I just add to that as well. I think that's the perfect response. And I think when we are doing things like this work with Martin, there's always new opportunities to reach new fans. And actually, when you were talking about kind of the art and the creations this time, you realise that there could be 20, there could be 100 people that would look at one of those paintings and see it totally differently. I mean, AOI was talking about how Max and Checo walked around here and showed kind of their extreme knowledge of each one of those pieces of art, and they would say, "This is the corner of that track, and so is in the car." Like they know it so intimately. So if you ask them to describe it, they will be able to tell you from a racing driver's perspective. If you asked a fan to describe that moment, they would have their own story about it. If you asked an art student to talk about it, they would talk to the colours and the visuals. So one painting or one piece of art can touch so many different people in so many different ways. So when you have a collection as rich as this, and you've got 60 different paintings, that's going to reach wealth and breadth of audience. And I think every time we do these drops and we do the work with amazing artists, we get the opportunity to reach so many different people, whether that's in the world of Web3 or whether it could be the art space, it could be the Red Bull Racing fandom side of things. So I think it's just these opportunities that really allow us to continue to build on what we're doing and reach new audiences.
That's a really, really good answer to that. That's amazing to hear. I think you've already also kind of told us about how Web3 technology and the racing is changing the racing culture at Oracle Red Bull Racing. So we don't need to actually get into that as well. I think one thing from our side, Bybit side, does Bybit offer exclusive rewards for fans for our partnership with
Velocity series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have so many surprise. You know, um, so I think maybe I'll just point to an example from last year. So last year, we had 4 NFT drops, and then at the end of after the race season concluded, after we had finished the 4 drops, what we did is we did a kind of a raffle or a giveaway in the Velocity Series collectors community, and the lucky winners, they were eventually awarded with signed race suits, signed boots, very very exclusive stuff you
Yeah.
cannot get your hands on, even if you want to pay the
We're
price.
always giving away Red Bulls merch. We love it. We even have one we're doing a giveaway at the moment from the Italian trade-off, that amazing shoot that we did in Italy.
I think something we're big on is wherever we can put a physical element in with the digital, because people love tangible things that they can actually hold, and so that's a big part of the Velocity series this year. It's giveaways, signed merch, looking at ways we can kind of bring the art to life physically, and give that away. So there's lots more of that to come.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Martin, AOI, do you have any final words for our fans, what they should be looking forward to? Maybe a new drop after this one? No, I'm joking. That's too much work.
No, I mean, I'll do my best to be in the Discord. I'm a little bit challenged in terms of using that product, but I mean, I'd love to hear from people in terms of what they think, what they're looking for. We're always happy to incorporate new ideas into the work, and we're making new works and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, just feedback, and love talking to the people and being part of the team, letting them weigh in. Always interested to hear what people are thinking and saying.
Amazing. Any final words from you, AOI?
I think, we're just really, really excited for Martin's drop. I truly believe that, working with Martin the last few months, like his heart, soul, and spirit is in his artwork. And to see that artwork, be a pivotal moment of Rebel Racing's history as well. I think when you combine those things together, I was saying to Martin the other day, I don't think you can repeat this. These individual 60 pieces will forever be a part of Rebel Racing digital art history. So just, incredible work, Martin. And also, we have one more final artist for Abu Dhabi as well, which we're really, really excited about. So yeah, buy Velocity fast and have fun, enjoy.
We're all excited for it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. This was an absolutely amazing discussion. So yeah, you heard it from here first. Make sure to cop your amazing NFT collection on the Bybit NFT marketplace. And thank you everyone for joining us again. Just to remind everyone, we do have a giveaway. So all the questions you submitted, and if we did actually hit 10K viewers, I couldn't see, I'm not sure, then we do have $300 and $200 giveaway for everyone who joined. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next live stream.